Alexandra Eala from the Philippines, and has a huge win for her.
They're calling it the moment that stunned even the Rafa Nadal Academy. And if you look closely at the back of Eala's visor, you'll see why. Stitched into it is a simple line in Tagalog: once it grows, it cannot be stopped. Those 6 words captured the spirit of her remarkable journey. She spoke about their meaning during her press conference on Thursday, July 2, 2026.
Kapag lumago, hindi nahihinto. And that loosely translates to once it grows, it cannot be stopped.
After walking off court 12 at the All England Club, Eala stepped into a place in tennis history no Filipina had ever reached before. The scoreboard read 3-6, 6-2, 6-0. Her opponent was Maya Joint, the Australian who had stunned Serena Williams just 2 days earlier. The stage was Wimbledon, and with that victory, Eala advanced to the 3rd round of a Grand Slam for the first time in her career, the first Filipino player, male or female, to achieve the feat in the Open era. Just 24 hours earlier, she had cruised past Renata Zarazua 6-1, 6-2 in only 1 hour and 18 minutes. She didn't look like a player fighting to survive. She looked like someone conserving energy for a much bigger challenge. Now we know what she was saving it for. To understand the significance of this breakthrough, you first have to understand where her limits once seemed to be. Before Wimbledon 2026, Alexandra Eala had appeared in 6 Grand Slam main draws. She had reached the 2nd round only once, at the US Open the previous year, and had suffered first-round exits in 4 of those 6 appearances. When she arrived at the Australian Open in January, she was ranked inside the world's top 75. But her campaign ended almost as quickly as it began. Alicia Parks bageled her in the opening set before Eala fell 6-0, 3-6, 2-6, marking her 3rd first-round Grand Slam exit. Fast forward 6 months, and everything had changed. For the first time in her career, Eala entered a Grand Slam as a seeded player. Her name appeared on the Wimbledon draw beside the number 29. A year earlier, she had been ranked number 140. That is the mathematics of a turning point. The ranking tells only part of the story. Beneath it lies a remarkable year in which the 21-year-old climbed more than 100 places in the world rankings, captured her first grasscourt title, and transformed from a promising prospect into a genuine contender that opponents had to prepare for. Yet one question still lingered. Could she put together a deep run at a Grand Slam? Not just a single upset. Not one memorable match. But a tournament that proved she belonged among the elite. It was a fair question. Her biggest breakthrough before Wimbledon had come in Miami in 2025, where she produced a stunning upset on a hard court. It was a defining victory, but it wasn't a Grand Slam. Her major record still suggested a player learning how to compete on tennis's biggest stages. The real challenge wasn't another opponent. It wasn't a rivalry. It wasn't even pressure. It was a quiet question that had followed her for nearly 2 years: could Eala finish the job? Eala has learned how to respond when the pressure rises. Her rise has been steady, not sudden. At the start of March 2026, she was ranked number 32 in the world after being outside the top 140 just a year earlier. That kind of improvement isn't luck, it's the result of consistent growth. Her run to the 3rd round at Wimbledon wasn't built on one great week. It was the latest chapter in a year of impressive progress. Earlier in the grasscourt season, she captured the Birmingham Classic, earning the first grasscourt title of her career with a determined comeback in the final. She then carried that confidence into Wimbledon, winning her opening match without losing serve before fighting back from a set down in the 2nd round. Much of Eala's development has taken place at the Rafa Nadal Academy, where she has trained since she was a teenager. Before Wimbledon began, the Academy celebrated her journey from the Philippines and highlighted her debut as an inspiring milestone. While social media has circulated claims that Rafael Nadal was personally shocked by her success, there is no verified evidence of such comments. What is clear is that the Academy has believed in her potential for years, making her progress feel like the natural outcome of long-term development rather than a surprise. Her next challenge is enormous: defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek. The two have split their previous meetings, with Eala's memorable victory in Miami proving she can compete with the very best. Still, Wimbledon presents an entirely different stage. When asked about facing Swiatek, Eala remained calm and confident. She acknowledged the difficulty of the challenge while making it clear that she intends to push one of the world's best players. It's the mindset of an athlete who knows she belongs among the elite. Her Wimbledon run is also historic for Philippine tennis. No Filipino singles player had reached the 3rd round of a Grand Slam in the Open era before this achievement. That makes her success significant not only for her own career but for her country's sporting history. What's even more remarkable is how much has changed in a short time. Just
I'm
months
not being
earlier at the
cruel, I
Australian
replied.
Open, Eala suffered another
I'm doing my
disappointing
job.
first-round exit.
If
Instead
Marcus
of
were any
allowing
other
that defeat
borrower,
to define
this
her,
process
she
would have
used it as
started already.
motivation to improve.
I'm giving
Since
him
then,
extra time
she has
because
reached
of
a
our
career-high
relationship.
ranking, won on grass,
What do you
and
want?
delivered her best Grand Slam
Marcus
performance to
asked.
date. Whether she
An
defeats
apology.
Swiatek or not, this tournament
Fine.
represents a turning point.
I'm sorry for
Eala
what I
is no
said to
longer
Daniel.
simply a promising young
Is that
talent.
enough?
She has established
I don't
herself
need
as a
an
genuine
apology from you
contender
for
on
my
one of
benefit,
tennis's biggest
Marcus.
stages. She
I
has
need
earned
you
her
to
place among the
understand that
game's
actions
rising
have
stars,
consequences.
and this may only be the beginning
The
of an
only
even
thing I
greater
expect
journey.
is that you meet your financial obligations like everyone else. In the background, I could hear Jennifer crying, my parents arguing, and another relative accusing me of going too far. This is harassment, Uncle Robert said. I know attorneys. Good, I answered. Have them review the loan agreement. They'll tell you everything I'm doing is legal and standard procedure. I explained that Marcus had actually received special consideration for more than a year because I had personally ensured his account received extra flexibility. That exception was over. Then I ended the call and turned off my phone. I needed rest. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls and messages. I ignored all of them and made Daniel his favorite breakfast, pancakes. Are you okay, Mom? He asked. I smiled. I'm better than okay. Now eat before they get cold. At 9 o'clock, an unfamiliar number called. This is David Park, attorney for Marcus Thompson. We need to discuss the action you're taking against my client. There is no action outside the agreement, I replied. There is a signed contract and a borrower who is currently in default. My understanding is that you're his sister. That creates a conflict. I'm also the owner of the bank, I said. Marcus is a customer. If anything, he has received more patience than other borrowers. That ends now. The attorney was silent. Your client has 68 hours remaining, I added before ending the call. Later that morning, the bank's senior loan officer contacted me. We've received several inquiries from Marcus's legal team. How would you like us to proceed? Follow standard policy. No exceptions. Understood. Also, Marcus made the overdue payment this morning. $12,800 was received by wire transfer. I smiled slightly. Confirm the payment and update the account. And from this point forward, treat Marcus exactly like every other commercial borrower. Understood. That afternoon, I reviewed the bank's reports. Everything was performing better than expected. The acquisition had been a smart decision, not because of Marcus, but because it was part of a larger plan I had spent years building. My phone buzzed again. A message from my father appeared. Your mother is very upset. This isn't who you are. I looked at the screen and replied, this is exactly who I am. You just never took the time to find out. A few days later, Marcus sent Daniel a formal apology. It was carefully written, probably with legal advice, but it was still a step. At my mother's birthday dinner 2 weeks later, the atmosphere had changed. Nobody questioned my apartment. Nobody mocked my career. Nobody made comments about Daniel's future. When Daniel asked Marcus for a piece of cake, Marcus immediately cut him a generous slice. A small change, but an important one. That night, while I tucked Daniel into bed, he smiled. Uncle Marcus was nicer today. Yes, he was. Did you talk to him? In a way. Good, Daniel whispered. I like it better when people are kind. I kissed his forehead. Me too. Later, I returned to my office and looked over the future I had quietly built. The success my family never saw coming was never about proving them wrong. It was about creating security for my son. The same future they once questioned was the future I had been working toward every single day. Then I received a message from my cousin Trevor. I heard what happened. Marcus needed that lesson. Also, my company is preparing for an acquisition and we're looking for financial advice. Are you taking new clients? I smiled and replied, send me the details. I'd be happy to take a look. The next family gathering would be different. For years, they underestimated me because I stayed quiet. But being quiet never meant being powerless. Sometimes the strongest people in the room are the ones who don't need to announce their success. They simply keep building until the world finally notices.